Welcome, gentle viewer. I am Miles, and this is A Second Look, a Dungeons & Dragons fantasy channel where we discuss role-playing, world-building, and character development by examining familiar ideas from a different perspective. We are not homebrewing rules here. We are not here to explain rules text. We are looking at problems, creatures, and concepts in Dungeons & Dragons by changing the angle from which we view them. Today, we take a second look at devils. Dungeons & Dragons is full of creatures from beyond this mortal coil. Slotty, Githyanki, Modrons, genies, demons, elementals, and of course, the subject of today's video, devils. Devils are lawful evil, semi-immortal fiends who populate the nine hells. In most cases, they begin as the souls of lawful evil mortals. After death, those souls arrive in the hells as lemures, wretched, servile beings despised by other devils around them. They are treated as expendable fuel, disposable labor, and battlefield fodder. Every so often, one of those lemures is elevated into a higher form, most likely an imp, and it begins a long climb upwards. Devils grow in power through promotion. Advancement comes from superiors, and is earned through discipline, competence, usefulness, and the ability to distinguish itself from the endless masses beneath it. But devils are also evil, and hell does not reward virtue. Advancement can also come through deception, manipulation, fraud, and blackmail. A devil may rise through loyal service or by engineering the downfall of a rival and making itself too useful to discard. Their society is intensely structured because devils are creatures of law. Rank matters and authority matters. Procedures matter. But because they are also creatures of evil, they have no trouble twisting that structure to their advantage. They search for loopholes in contracts, obey the letter while violating the intent, and exploit any weakness in the systems that they can find. A devil may even break a contract outright if it believes it can do so without consequence. Hell is lawful, but it is never honest. Devils can rise through the ranks all the way to pit fiend, a form of immense power and terrible authority. A pit fiend stands at the highest point a devil can normally attain before entering the ranks of hell's true nobility, the archdevils. These singular rulers and powers who dominate entire lairs and shape infernal politics on a massive scale. Of course, they are all ruled by the one singular devil, Asmodeus. But below them, pit fiends serve as generals, governors, and warlords. They command armies and oversee vast operations and rule lesser territories in the name of greater powers, or sometimes in careful pursuit of their own future ascent. While the overwhelming majority of devils begin as the souls of lawful evil mortals after death, some are made through bargains. They do not simply wait for the wicked to die. They actively seek out the desperate, ambitious, and the frightened, and the foolish. A devil understands that a mortal on the edge of ruin is often far easier to claim than one living in comfort. So, it offers solutions: safety, wealth, revenge, power, protection for a loved one, escape from punishment. The promise it gives is rarely wild or dramatic at first. The best infernal bargains begin by sounding very reasonable. Of course, the main goal of an infernal contract is souls. But it is very unusual for a devil to start out by asking for your soul. The mortal would have likely have to be truly desperate, foolish, or just tempted in the beginning. What often happens is the devil appears offering smaller, easier bargains, things that perhaps even leave it on the lesser side of that bargain, only to slowly have entrapped the mortal into a situation where it has become desperate, either because the mortal did not fully understand the terms of the contract he was entering, or, and frequently, because the devil has made efforts to make things work out in a particular way that does not work for the mortal. Sometimes, devils will make contracts with individuals that are actually legitimate and never try to acquire that mortal's soul. Sometimes the goal for the devil is more important than the soul. Perhaps it is starting a cult, for instance, or facilitating entry to the prime material plane. Sometimes the devil uses the mortal as a pawn in a greater game that the mortal has no understanding of. But often, the devil will play a long game granting wealth and favor to a mortal who facilitates the devil getting many souls from other people, as it understands the mortal it bargained with will eventually forfeit its own soul, as he has repeatedly caused and created much evil into the world. How can you bring this sort of devil into your campaign? Well, the obvious way is a devil approaches or encounters the party at some point and makes an offer. Perhaps it loses a combat to them and offers a deal in place of killing it. A very good deal for the devil, as killing it anywhere other than its home plane will simply mean it will eventually reform anyways. Or perhaps the party encounters it being already captured. Or perhaps the devil appears as something other than a devil, an NPC who allies itself with the party and has been helping them for years, giving them missions, buying and selling items, and being as helpful can be. All the while, the missions it gives are part of a larger scheme that have been spreading corruption and evil through the world. By the time the party discovers the betrayal, it is well into a vile plan and immeasurable damage has already been done. Another way to make devils interesting and different in your campaign is allowing them to gate in other devils. Many old school D&Ders will remember gate as an ability of a devil or a demon to summon a devil or a demon of equal or lesser status. They in turn would gate in another, and so on, and so on, and so on. In 5e, only the summoner variant of devils can do this, and a gated devil cannot gate in another devil. But you're the DM, and there's no reason you cannot allow this ability in your game. Outside of gating in other devils, devils will operate as a social hierarchy. Frankly, as a very social society. They are always dealing with and surrounded by others. The Nine Hells are not simply populated by devils, but all sorts of other beings. An endless number of slaves occupy the bottom rung of society. Slaves will have virtually no rights and are purely property. Devils will also keep other lower status devils around to do their bidding. But the Hells are populated with various other creatures. Hags, who are best known for their collecting and selling of souls. Liches, various undead. Devils will ride powerful nightmares. And the Hells will often be occupied by dragons and many other entities who are either powerful enough or foolish enough to travel to the Nine Hells and either hold their own or become trapped there. It should be common to encounter devils in great numbers. The lower devils will often work in squads or organized groups, while greater devils will be in command of large numbers of other creatures. A devil on a covert mission, perhaps working to acquire souls or doing something it's not supposed to be doing, will quite probably be alone. An imp delivering a message may be alone, but generally they travel in numbers. Even if you cannot currently see the other devils at the moment, I can assure you they are there. When players encounter a devil, they should always present and operate as if they know exactly what is happening and that everything is in control. Even when they are caught off guard, they immediately have a plan or contingency in place. Most of the time, they do have some plan in place, no matter what happens. Devils operate in a culture of perfection. For example, an ice devil, before it is even considered eligible for promotion, not just ready to promote, but just to be eligible for promotion, must serve without failure or even error for 777 years. A single error, and they start again from day one. No mortal has ever had to deal with that kind of pressure or expectation of success. Devils really report to the most literal worst bosses imaginable. The Ice Devil considers every possibility and then plans and makes backup plans and contingency plans for everything that can possibly happen. You as a DM can play this out by letting the devil know what the DM knows about what the party is doing, about their agendas, their strengths and their weaknesses, and their plans. Greater and Archdevils should even more so have access to this sort of information. A quick note on Ice Devils serving error-free for 777 years. They clearly will make errors every now and then, but they develop the ability to rescue success from failure, to figure out different types of success, to bury failure, Or, barring that, leave some other dupe holding the bag for its lack of success and deal with the consequences. The final way I want to discuss making devils more formidable in your campaign is to lean into the fact that devils have been fighting demons, agents of good and chaos, as well as attacking and enslaving other realms and planes for countless millennia. In that time, devils have had the opportunity to collect, loot, purchase, and acquire incredible and mysterious items from across time and the planes. Of course, most of the best items, weapons, and equipment will go to the greater devils. But occasionally, a lesser devil will acquire a valuable magic item. And occasionally can happen many, many times over thousands of years. Greater devils, of course, will have both more opportunity to gather magical gear, and as higher-ranking entities, they will claim the battlefield loot. While there are plenty of +1 swords and potions of healing to be found, devils will come across items unheard of on the prime material plane. Spells and magic foreign to our mortal world will have been plundered and ended up in the claws of the infernal creatures. This could be anything. A flail with 3 snake heads that fight on their own accord, perhaps. A crystal cube that imprisons someone when thrown at them. Manacles designed to bind spellcasters and prevent spellcasting. Or wands and scrolls that hold spells never cast on the prime material plane. So, the devil facing off against a party can have some perfect MacGuffin that hampers them in a very specific way or gets around some ability that they have come to depend on in combat. This makes sense for a creature that seems to have planned for every eventuality and makes the fight that much more interesting. A word of warning though. While it can be very cool to give the party some unique and strange infernal loot, it can also become game-breaking. So, if you give the devil something that you do not want the party to keep, make it disappear when the devil dies. Perhaps it is a one-time use item. Make it unable to leave the 9 hells for some reason. Make it a limited use item. But you can absolutely come up with magic items and spells that feel unique without being game-breaking for the characters to loot from the dead devils. An easy way to do so and find ideas is Google magic items and spells from previous versions of D&D, then modify them for whatever version that you happen to be playing today. In closing, devils make perfect big bad evil guys or bosses for your games. In a long-term campaign, a devil can actually grow with the party. At lower levels, they're dealing with its minions and disrupting its plans. Around 7th or 8th level, they encounter the devil directly. Around 10th level, perhaps they finally gain enough power to engage and even defeat it, only for it to ascend into a higher form, and now they're facing a new and more powerful threat that again grows with the party. I hope this has been helpful. Please leave a like and subscribe. I would love to hear any ideas or experiences that you've had using devils in your campaigns. This has been a second look at devils, and I hope to see you again in my next video.